Everyone, Joseph Gervais back for a shoulder and triceps workout, high volume week. So on my high volume week, it's meant for mainly recovery, CNS recovery. So I don't want to do as heavy weights, so I can give my central nervous system a little bit of a break. So what I do is I do the same number of exercises on each day. So like for shoulders, I do four delt exercises still. The main difference is though, I do a set of 100, set of 50, 30, 20, and then my failure set after that. So I pre-fatigue with the high volume so that when I get to my failure set, I'm just not able to use as much heavy weight. So I can still use as heavy weight as possible. It's just physically not as much weight, so my central nervous system automatically gets a break that way. So right now I'm just gonna do my first set of 100 for rear delt flies. Big thing on like the sets of like 100 and 50, especially, you don't want to do 100 rep set or 50 rep set like close to failure. You just want it to really burn once you get past like 60 reps to really get blood into that muscle that you're trying to train, just to get it warmed up really good. Same with the 50. The 30 and the 20 rep sets, get a little bit closer to failure, like 80%. But again, it's just warming up and getting that muscle ready for the failure set. So like on this exercise for form, the kind of your key points, you want to lean on a bench. Sometimes these benches, like with these arms, aren't the best because they kind of interfere with your range of motion. But you just kind of got to get up a little farther so you can get past that. But you kind of want to get up as far as you need to be to get that clearance for your range of motion. And then you grab your dumbbell and you tilt it down because you want that leverage or that tension to be in the rear delt, in the back of the delt. And then from here, you start kind of raise the elbow or raise the shoulder. And then when you do that, you drive the elbow and you just do it as a smooth motion. That's kind of how you want to treat the form. And since I went a little heavy on my 30 rep set, I'll stick with the same weight and do my 20 rep set. It's not about the weight, it's just about getting that muscle group really warmed up. In terms of like the rest in between sets, for the 100, 50, 30, 20 rep sets, you want to keep the rest short. But sometimes like if you misgauge your 100 rep sets or your 50 rep sets and you get pretty fatigued where you're getting closer to failure, take a little bit longer break, like up to 2 minutes. You know, if you're going longer than 2 minutes, that's way too long. I try to keep them around a minute usually. And then for my failure set that I'm on now, that's when I'll take like up to 2 to 3 minutes, so I'm ready to really just completely wipe the muscle group. And that being said, you want to shoot for that 8 to 12 rep range, ideally. You really don't want to go lower than that on the high volume week just because the main intention is to give your central nervous system a break. So if you're doing like sets of 5, even though the weight's lighter because you're pre-fatigued, it's going to be stretching your CNS more than you want on this week because it's mainly a recovery week. So it's not about as heavy as you can go, it's just about burning the muscle group up. All right, that's rear delt, dumbbell flies, done. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the workout, but like when you're doing delt as a bodybuilder specifically, or mainly just as anybody who's trying to like look better, in my opinion, rear delts should all be trained first for shoulders, just because they're always typically the smallest. And then I go usually to the side. You could train side first, I guess, because you can never be too wide. But I like to train rear delts first because they're usually just smaller, they're harder to hit. So if you pre-fatigue them, then on the consecutive or the exercises thereafter, they'll get hit harder and get a little bit more work. So that being said, second exercise is going to be just cable side lateral raises, and start off with my set of 100, get warmed up. And when I'm doing these, I like to step back a little bit, so when I raise up, I'm getting some rear delt activation as well. So for like the 150 rep sets, it's extremely crucial to get exactly 100, exactly 50, exactly 30. No, I'm joking. You don't need exactly 150, 30, 20 reps in those sets, but you just kind of want to shoot for that ballpark. For the 100 rep set, if I'm within 10 reps of that, it's good enough for me, and the 50 within 5, it's pretty good. And the 30, 20, you know, you want to be within like 1 or 2 reps of that set. The main key isn't the exact rep count, it's just kind of that rep range, mainly just to pre-fatigue the muscle group and get it primed for that failure set. Just don't get too anal with counting on those sets. So for my 50 rep set, I'm just gonna do the same weight as I did for my 100 rep set, because 100 rep set killed me. And as you can see, I'm using an extremely large amount of weight, 2 plates on the stack, which, I mean, if you know anything about these stacks, that's unheard of. It's ridiculous. All right, so I'm warmed up for the failure set of the cable side lateral raises. So we'll get to it. One, I guess, to note, like I said before, it's not about as much weight as you can push. So like for a normal week when I'm doing this, I can do like, 12 to 15 plates for, anywhere from 8 to 5 reps. But I'm just gonna do 6 because I'm already pre-fatigued. And again, this is my recovery week. So it's not about moving as much weight as I can move. It's about just getting stimulus and let my central nervous system kind of take a break from my heavy week, which was last week, and then next week to get it ready for next week. So like at this point in the exercise, in my fatigue level, like I could jerk up and get, I don't know, a handful more reps, but I just want to control the movement, use my side delts, and just, really try to get it out. And if I can't get it without jerking it, side delts are done, exercise is done, it's accomplished the task of stimulating it, move on. All right, so on to our third shoulder exercise, side lateral cable raises. So I've already done most of my warm-ups. I'm on my 20 set warm-up, so I can film this quick and then take a little break, and then I'll do my failure set. This is a good machine just to really isolate, the shoulders. I feel like one that you can really feel the muscle group and really take out a lot of the joint stress just because it's on the machine, which I like about it. And like for my heavy weeks, I don't use it a lot because the stack isn't super heavy for me, but for my recovery week, my high volume week like this week, it's really good and it's ideal for that, because it also, for one, I can't go too heavy because the machine doesn't allow me to for my strength levels, and then plus with the pre-fatigue sets, it kind of limits me as well. So for my high volume week, it's really good, and it's good in general for safety and ease of joints. So if your shoulders are bothering you, it's a good one you could try out. All right, let's get to it. on these like machine exercises, or yeah, machine exercises, once you've kind of reached that failure point, I like to really just push against the movement or push into the machine, whatever the movement might be. Just in case, you know, side delts, side lateral raise. You know, so I just like to try to give it a good push. So that way, you know, I know I'm not cheating myself, like, or half-assing the movement, so to speak. You know, where like, oh yeah, I failed, it hurts, it burns. It's like, well, you gotta give it more than that if you want the most out of it. So just make sure you're pushing yourself to failure, obviously safely. But yeah, on to the next one. Ahoy there, friends. So for the fourth exercise, we're gonna be doing shoulder press, seated shoulder press on a machine. I'm gonna be facing inwards. Kind of give you a little demo. The reason is to kind of emphasize more rear delt. So when I'm pushing up, I'm gonna be pushing up and out, like not actually out because the machine will restrict me, but I'm gonna be consciously giving that effort so that my rear delt will activate. And that's how you're gonna be doing the movement. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm sitting in, and it's good to get either a machine or you can do it with a barbell, like on a Smith, are really good, where you can like push outward physically against the machine. So like when I'm sitting in here, I'm pushing physically outward towards my left and towards my right to get my rear delt to activate. All right, so I'm all warmed up for the failure set of the seated shoulder press facing inward, emphasizing rear delts. The nice thing with like I said earlier, is I feel like rear delts as a bodybuilder, and kind of a lot of people I think wanting to get that like muscular, lean physique, men or women, rear delts should be emphasized on shoulder day. And like I don't really like to target front delts just because mine are more developed. So I rarely do exercises like this, but I throw them in every, 3 to 4 weeks, once a month. Gonna do my failure set here. So on this exercise, again, it's mainly because it's recovery week, so it's give the CNS a break. I'm not pushing nearly the weight I could. I just slow down the movement to get that fatigue, that stimulus on the rear delt and the shoulder in general. So drive it up with the muscle, slow the weight down. Well, that shoulder's done. We're gonna go move on to first tricep exercise for the day. All right, so doing the first set of exercise for triceps here, seated machine tricep push downs. Another thing too for like the warm-up sets, like the 150 and the 30s kinda, you don't really want to be squeezing the muscle too much, just kind of pumping it, getting blood in the air. 20 rep set, you can kind of start to squeeze a little bit more, but you don't want to, you want to pre-fatigue the muscle, but you don't want to overly fatigue it to where you're, kind of using too much of the glycogen, and the energy storage in the muscle group, because you want to save most of that for the main failure set to really just completely wipe the muscle, get that maximal stimulus for growth. So just kind of, in a sense, you're just going through the motions, but like, for example, here you can watch, this is my 20 rep set. So this is the one you take a little bit more seriously. So I'm kind of gonna go through the exercise, and at the bottom, I'm really squeezing, not like 100%, but bam, squeeze, on the set, it'd be a little bit more in depth. That's more of the 100% to failure. This is like 80 to 90. All right, so all warmed up for the the failure set for this first tricep exercise. Again, like I was just saying in the last clip, like with warm-ups, you don't want to overexert yourself. You get to that 20 rep set, then you go in a little bit deeper towards the 80 to 90%, and then that failure set, 110%. So on this exercise, your chest is gonna get a little bit of activation each rep, but that last rep there, I could really feel like my chest was really starting to fire because my triceps were just wiped. And I don't mind that little bit of activation because, you know, that tie in there, everything kind of ties in together nicer, so you can feel that tie in a little bit out more. But if my tricep or my chest was really starting to activate, donezo, next exercise. So on to the second tricep exercise, doing cable rope push downs here. Pretty simple movement. So I like to get my butt out, keep my chest up, kind of keep my elbows in front of me, push down like this, kind of away, and lock your arm out like that. That was the failure set for the rope tricep push downs. When I'm doing my failure sets, kind of not about speed, it's about as fast as you can move the weight with just that muscle. You know, no swinging. So nice, powerful contraction. It's not jerking it, because if I go like that, you know, it's a little bit of shoulder, you know, movement, body movement, you know, versus just tricep. You know, so just keep that in mind when you're doing your failure sets. You know, now if you're powerlifting or doing other things, it's different. This is just about muscle growth, hypertrophy training, just getting that muscle bigger, getting as much stimulus to that as possible. All right, next tricep exercise. So for the third tricep exercise, I'm gonna do a skull crusher with the easy bar. I haven't done these in probably 5 years, actually. I mainly don't do these a lot because of my elbow, they always bothered me, but I figured I'd give it a shot because I'm going light for my recovery week. And like, I think it's Wolf's Law. So like blunt force trauma, you know, stuff like that. That, like if you do have like tendonitis or something, you can find something that will stress it but not aggravate it. So like this puts stress on the elbow, but it doesn't aggravate it. Now with light weight, that can help increase the durability or the strength of the joint. That's why I'm trying it, because I have pretty bad tendonitis in my right elbow, but if I can find a movement that'll stress it in a healthy manner to give it strength, then I'll give it a shot. So for like form on these, I like to, well, I haven't done these in years, but what I think you should do is get your elbows like either in line with your head or slightly behind your head. The farther back you go, the more stretch you're gonna get in that tricep, the more the tricep you're gonna be activating. From here, try to keep your elbows pinned in place, kind of lock them there, and then flex out. Get that extension. All right, so ready for my failure set on these skull crushers. So like I said before, it's not about the weight, especially on this week, you know, where it's the high volume recovery week. You know, I think it's only equivalent to a 25 on each side. So it's not a lot of weight, but it's still gonna help your arms grow, get your triceps bigger, get the arms bigger. Make sure you wanna keep those joints healthy, keep everything healthy. So like for me, like I said, I have, you know, tendonitis in this elbow, but this is feeling really good. And I think the extra blood and the extra high rep sets really help with that too. So this might be an exercise I can throw in more often. It doesn't have to be one you have to use on a heavy week or to go heavy with. It could be one to help recover and like strengthen your elbows, like I said. But let's get to this set. that was shoulders and triceps on a high volume / recovery week. Yeah, it's pretty simple. You know, the 100 rep set, 50, 30, 20, then your failure rep set. Failure rep set, you know, roughly 8 to 12 rep range usually. Now if you're trying to strength train, you can go heavier. Bodybuild 8 to 12, I would say. Say you're an endurance athlete, you can go higher. But yeah, mainly meant for recovery of the central nervous system, to prime your body for the next heavy week and to recover from the last heavy week. Works really well for someone with a physical job. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.